Yeah,
Turned
but
out to.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I thought you'd just be like, you bored,
Oh
bored of
no, no,
doing a minute,
it's part of the package, I guess.
part of the circus.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
circus. You need to promote, isn't it? You need to promote yourself. So that's all
This,
good.
well, yeah, I like that. At least you got respect for it. Um, anyway, I know you've only got a little bit of time, and I'm always appreciative of the time that I get with you, Rich. You know what it is. You're one of my favorite fighters. I'll probably say you are my favorite fighter. So welcome. We're doing it online because I haven't managed to get down to London. So I'm missing out on your world championship fight. I'm gutted, but I'm glad you're on here.
It's all good. I know you're there in spirit, so it's all love, regardless.
I know that my seat's going to be taken by a super what is it, pop star Madonna. You've been getting that all weekend, yeah?
Yeah, man, non-stop, non-stop, man.
You
I've
know how
just
many DMs
focused.
I had?
Pardon?
You know how many DMs I had saying, "Yo, what's going on with Richard? Is Richard like is that his girl now?"
That's mad. That's just
Mrs. Riakporhe.
just a friend, nothing more
Nah,
than.
I know.
Yeah,
I know that. I've been fencing them off all week. But listen, we've got to park that because at the end of the day, this is a world championship fight that you're going into. So yeah, it's all fun and games. But this is a serious fight, Rich. You've
yeah.
had the public workout. Talk to me about that southpaw. Why did you do that? I've seen you do it before,
You
but
know what? Watch back all my open workouts. I always do the same thing. I always turn southpaw. When I was younger, I used to turn southpaw a lot, but my trainers they told me to change back to orthodox. I need to master one thing before I go to the next. But I love going southpaw sometimes when I'm sparring as well. So yeah, it's something that I like to do.
well, it definitely created a talking point. I've seen you do it. I remember when you did it. I think it was for Dion Drummer. So when I saw you do it, I kind of smirked. So I thought, here we go. Because I think sometimes because you're quite reserved, people don't know that you play these kind of mind games. You subtle with it. You're like brush it off as banter, but it's you, innit?
You know what? I've actually turned southpaw a few times in my fights, like land a couple shots and then turn back.
Did you?
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
fights?
I can't remember what I've got like highlight reels and stuff like that. I have to just go back in the catalog, I guess. But yeah, I do sometimes.
So how was it then? The top table. It's like you're going into round number 13 now, but there's so much more on the line. World Championship belt. Richard Riakporhe has, it's in that reach now. Saturday night, 10:30, whatever it is, hands raised, and the belt transferred over to you. What does that mean to you after all these years?
Yeah, it means a lot. It means a lot, and it's just the manifestations that I've kind of just seen happen. I've seen happen over time. You know, from me winning British titles, international titles, and to coming to where what I pretty much planned. You know, all them years back. It's really good, and but I have so much more to do. You know, what I'm saying this is a part of my journey. I have great ambitions to go all the way, all the way, all the way to the top. And to a place where people can't fathom. And this is just a part of it, really.
The preparation, I know that you train hard anyway. Would you say that there's been an extra kick in your training this time, or it's kind of like Richard Riakporhe trains how he trains?
Yeah, the training has been very intense. We had some solid sparring partners, big punches, very aggressive. It was a tough camp. I had to fight them all. Every single day was a war. To complete a day, but not just complete it, but to push yourself past that limit. So I learned a lot about myself, and it's all about picking up the 1%ers every single day and every single way you can, and that's what we did, which is why I'm very confident going into this fight.
The repetition, as it were, I know people have asked you this like a million times. I've heard it with you all week. We talk about improvements. We talk about potentially Chris on the decline or as not moved as fast as you have. But then on the other side, we've had Chris that's been more active than you, which is what his team are kind of like going up against, saying, look, all right, fair enough. Richard is this, he's improved loads. but we've had that activity. Talk to us about that balance, Richard, and how that can transpire in the fight. And I'll tell you why I'm asking that after.
Well, with activity is very important, as we all know. But at the same time, it's the last fight I've had probably like 6 months, 7 months ago. Prior to that, 11, 10 months, I don't know. But my time was on point. Everything is on point. I've been in the gym. We practice and train as if we're in real fights. We have different ways of practicing, and I think there's pretty much like a fine line, because there's activity and then there's wear and tear, which is inevitable. When you having the wear and tear from the fights and from the camps, when a fresher fighter comes in there, he has less wear and tear on his body, more fresher, able to sustain more damage if need be, and able to dish out more because he's fresh. Legs are fresh, everything's fresh, and that's why a lot of people have put me as a favorite for the fight, because they know I'm coming in as a fresher guy. Chris Billam-Smith has been active, but he's had wars. In his last fights, he's taken a lot of shots, and if he's taking shots in the fights, then he's taken a lot of shots in sparring, and that's the maths, and the math is mathing.
The math is mathing. The reason why I asked, I'm going to compare Riakporhe's rematch with Marius Bradis. Marius Bradis has been out for the 2 years. We've seen what he's been up to. He's been trying to get fights with Jake Paul, doing rap songs, dressing up weird, turning up to press conferences. However, when he entered the ring for the rematch with Riakporhe, you would think I had to box rec to see if he'd had any fights in between, because theoretically, I would have thought that he would have struggled. But Bradis went in there, the inactive fighter that had 2 years off, and still put on a solid performance, to the point where you could see that Jai was boxing him more tentatively. I don't know. Is that a fight that you watch? Do you get what I'm saying with it?
Yeah,
Activities like
I,
can be a myth.
I get what you say. I get what you say for sure. Some people don't leave the gym. Some people are always in the gym, always sparring, always try to replicate a real fight in any way, they can, just to stay active. And I think it comes to a point where if the fighter is trying to get fights and he's not able to, and he's doing everything in his power, then there's nothing you can really do about it. But then, when you have the opportunity to fight, but you're not fighting, and you're taking large amount of time just like that out without fighting, then of course that's definitely gonna affect you in different type of ways, I think. But yeah, it definitely does affect you. But at the same time, there's so many exceptions where certain people hadn't been in the ring for a very, very long time but performed amazing. So with me, it was just the other day I was going through all of this. You know what I mean, for me. So it's not something that I really think about.
This time, and do you think that Chris? I mean, both of you, your teams have spoke about game plans. It seems like Shane's like, yeah, we've got a game plan. Obviously, I know what Angel's like. I've been in the gym with you guys, saying that obviously he's got his game plan. Both of you as trainers, both of your trainers, I'd say, have similarities in relation to you both study the fighters that you're going to fight, and you're quite methodical with your training style. For a fan like me watching it, I'm like obsessed with like the corner work, hearing what the trainers say to you guys, coming back into your corners after each round goes on. I know you're planning on a knockout, but how do you see that like sort of trainer v trainer in the ring? Because it's literally the boxing brain versus the boxing brain. You two guys doing what you're doing there, improvising as well, being instinctive. But then you've got you've got Shane McGuigan and obviously Angel Fernandez advising you as you're both going through that fight. How do you see that as the battle of the trainers as well?
I think that makes the fight a bit more exciting, because you have Angel. He got opportunities. He's making his legacy as we speak. And I'm pretty much the first fighter of his that's actually fighting for a world title. He's been putting in work for a very long time to get here, and he's here for a reason. You don't get these opportunities without putting in hard graft. And then you got Shane McGuigan. He's done a lot. He's had loads of champions, loads. So, you know, in that regard, we can say, look, who's the more hungrier. Do you know what I'm saying? We can that can also be an element. He's done a lot, whereas, you know, I haven't become champion yet. Angel hasn't had a fight as champion. So, you know, which corner are you picking? You know, where'd you put all your money in if you're gonna make a bet? It makes it interesting. He's had great game plans and stuff that's worked. At the same time, he's a normal, you know, human being. You know, he takes L's. You know, it's a normal way of life, really. So, but I think for the boxing fans, that's going to be great because they're going to see how, obviously, both sides deal with certain situations in the ring.
Do you feel any pressure from that? Like you said, Angel's building his legacy. And when I say pressure, I know you've got this attitude that it's a fight. You know, I'm not afraid of having a fight. That is something that you've always stood by. But when I say pressure, it's like it's you walking through this journey and obviously your trainer that you trust implicitly. Do you feel that pressure like, I've got to make this work because you're in the ring on your own, but it's kind of like a team effort?
Yeah, 100%. There's definitely pressure. At the same time, my journey started a very long time ago, before I had anybody wanted to do any interviews with me, and we already set our plan, and we wanted to go to the top. And to go to the top, we didn't know at the time, but now I do know. It takes a lot of sacrifice, a lot of discipline, a lot of lonely nights, a lot of time away from your family, friends, hardly see any of them. And, you know, it's just me and my goals first, and then obviously later on we integrate with everybody else, and our goals were aligned, which made it perfect. So we're all on the journey together, but at the same time, I started this a very long time ago. This was always my mission, you know.
And mission will be accomplished on the weekend. I'm going to keep it as it is, brief and short. I wish you literally all the best. I'll be watching you, obviously, both you guys on the scales tomorrow. Are you going to give a round prediction for your stoppage? Because I believe it's going to be a stoppage. I don't think it goes the full distance. Everyone's saying points,
No,
but I don't see that with you.
it's the way,
Just straight no.
I always, when I always train, I always like take myself out of my shoes. Just remember, I'm the one that's gone through the hard camp, the hard graft. I've seen how I performed in sparring and how sharp I am, and I always take myself out of my shoes and just look at it from like a outsider's perspective that's actually been in camp. And
Astral.
the way I literally perform this stuff, I don't see it going that far, because if it does, he's going to take a lot of damage, and you know, we're at that place now, you know, where we want to bring people into the sport, not scare people away. And right now, I'm in top shape, best shape I've been in. I'm hitting very hard, very explosive, and I can do very often. So, you know, if we were to do the maths equation, and that the math is going to be mathing for sure.
We love it. Listen, I'm expecting to hear call outs. I'm expecting to hear I'm expecting to hear call outs for unification. I'm really excited for you. Thank you so much for giving me time, Rich. And I guess it's back to the gym with you in a couple of weeks to have a post fight catch up. And
yeah, 100%. I'm going to be back in the gym very soon. And yeah, there's a lot going on, man. There's a lot that we want to do. So there's this grinding season. No time
absolutely.
to take loads of trips away and stuff like that.
I like it. Focused. I like it. Until the next time then, Rich, I'm just going to close this off. And until the next time. And thank you once again for your time.
Much love.
People say I'm toxic, and honestly, I don't care.